Imagine if you treated your failures like lessons, not evidence you're broken. What would change? Because right now, every time something goes wrong, you spiral. You tell yourself you're not good enough. You use it as proof that you can't do anything right. You add it to the mental list of reasons you're a failure that you've been keeping since middle school. One mistake, and suddenly you're catastrophizing your entire life. I messed up this presentation, so I'm terrible at my job, so I'll probably get fired, so I'll never be successful, so I'm just a failure at life. But what if, and stay with me here, what if you're asking the wrong question? What if instead of, why do I always mess everything up? You asked, what did this teach me? Because here's the truth you've been avoiding. Every misstep is data, not doom. It's information, it's feedback. It's your life showing you what doesn't work, so you can figure out what does. But we don't treat it that way. We treat every mistake like it's a referendum on our worth as human beings, like failing at something means we are a failure, like one bad outcome erases every good thing we've ever done. And that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Here's what's actually happening when you fail at something. You tried, you took a risk, you put yourself out there, and it didn't go the way you wanted. That's it. That's the whole story. But you add chapters to it. And it didn't work because I'm not smart enough, because I never finish anything, because I'm just not cut out for this, because everyone else can do it, but I can't. You turn one outcome into a whole narrative about who you are as a person. Your worth isn't tied to success. Read that again, out loud if you need to. Your worth as a human being has nothing to do with whether you got the job, passed the test, made the deadline, impressed the person, won the thing, achieved the goal. You have worth because you exist, because you're a person, because you're trying. That's it. Success doesn't make you worthy. It just means something worked out. Failure doesn't make you worthless. It just means something didn't work out this time. But we've been conditioned to believe our value is in our output, in our achievements, in our ability to never mess up, never fail, never be anything less than perfect. And that's exhausting, and it's a lie. You're allowed to stumble and rise. Over and over again. That's not weakness. That's being human. That's how growth works. That's how learning works. Babies fall hundreds of times before they walk. Nobody looks at a baby falling and says, well, I guess you're just not a walker. Maybe walking isn't for you. No. We say, you're learning. Try again. But somehow as adults, we fall once and decide it's over. We're done. We're failures. We should give up. That's not wisdom. That's fear pretending to be protection. Mistakes don't define your potential. They don't tell you what you can or can't do. They tell you what you tried and what happened. That's data. That's useful. I applied for 20 jobs and didn't get any of them doesn't mean you're unemployable. It means your resume needs work, or you're applying to the wrong places, or the market is brutal right now, or a million other things that have nothing to do with your worth. I tried to set a boundary and the person got mad doesn't mean you shouldn't have boundaries. It means that person doesn't respect boundaries and you just learned something important about them. I started a project and didn't finish it doesn't mean you're lazy or undisciplined. It means maybe you lost interest, or it was harder than you thought, or you need to approach it differently, or maybe it wasn't the right project for you right now. Every outcome is information, but you have to be willing to look at it as information instead of using it as a weapon against yourself. The only thing that limits you is the story you tell yourself. Not what actually happened, the story you tell about what happened. I failed versus I tried something and learned what doesn't work. I'm not good at this versus I'm still learning this. I always mess up versus this didn't work out this time. Same event, completely different story, and the story you choose determines whether you try again or give up. So here's what you're going to do right now. Write down one recent failure. Something that didn't go the way you wanted. Something you've been beating yourself up about. Something you've been using as evidence that you're not good enough. Write it down. I didn't get the promotion. I said something stupid in that meeting. I didn't stick to my workout plan. I hurt someone's feelings. Whatever it is. And then, this is the important part, list 3 things it taught you. Not what it says about you as a person. What it taught you. What information you gained. What you learned. Maybe you learned that job wasn't the right fit anyway. Maybe you learned you need to prepare more before speaking up. Maybe you learned you set unrealistic expectations. Maybe you learned you need to communicate better. 3 things, minimum. Make yourself find them. Because when you do this, when you actively look for the lesson instead of the proof of your inadequacy, you see how it shifts your perspective. Suddenly, it's not a failure, it's education, it's growth, it's progress, even though it doesn't look like the Instagram version of progress. Knowledge grows from reflection, not regret. Regret is just sitting in the feeling of, I messed up, I'm bad, I should have done better. That doesn't teach you anything, it just makes you feel worse. Reflection is asking, what can I learn from this? What would I do differently? What did this show me about myself or the situation? One makes you smaller, one makes you wiser. Your resilience is your power. Not your ability to never fail. Your ability to fail and keep going, to get back up, to try again, to adjust and adapt and figure it out. That's strength. That's real strength. Anyone can succeed when everything's easy. Anyone can keep going when things are working out. The real test is, can you fail and not let it destroy you? Can you mess up and still believe you're capable? That's the skill that matters. Learning is your path forward. Not perfection, not never making mistakes. Learning, growing, getting better, slowly, imperfectly, messily. Embrace missteps. They're signposts. They're showing you where to go next, where to adjust, what to change, what to learn. If you never messed up, you'd never know what needs improvement. You'd never grow. You'd just stay exactly where you are, doing exactly what you've always done. Mistakes are how you evolve, how you become more, how you figure out who you actually are when things don't go according to plan. You're stronger than your fears. The fear that you'll fail again, the fear that you're not enough, the fear that one more mistake will prove you were right about yourself all along. You're stronger than all of that, because you're still here, still trying, still showing up even though you've failed before and you know you'll fail again. That's courage, that's power, that's everything. Okay, your turn. What did you learn from your last mistake? Not what it says about you, what you actually learned, what insight you gained, what you'll do differently because of it. Share it below and help someone see growth in setbacks. Because when you share what you learned from your failure, you give someone else permission to learn from theirs. You show them it's possible to mess up and still be okay, still be worthy, still be moving forward. Reflection changes perspective. We grow together. Every time you share what you learned instead of hiding what you failed at, you're helping build a culture where failure is part of the process, not proof you shouldn't have tried. If you're tired of treating yourself like the enemy every time something doesn't work out, hit subscribe. We're building a space where mistakes are data, not doom, where you're allowed to be human, where growth matters more than perfection. Comment below, subscribe. Let's rewrite the story together. You're not broken, you're just learning, and that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Keep going.